Every expert you admire today was once a beginner who simply refused to stop learning. And that's exactly what we are here to celebrate today. Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to yet another episode of Tech and Tales, the official podcast brought to you by the NIEEE Student Branch. I am your host, Akhilesh Joshi, who will be serving as the Secretary of Internal Affairs at NISB. Whether you're tuning in from your hostel room, the library, or just taking a break between the classes, we are thrilled to have you with us today. Dear listeners, today we have the absolute pleasure of hosting one of our most accomplished alumni. Someone who has not only built an inspiring career, but also secured one of the highest placement packages our institution has ever seen. We are beyond excited to welcome Iresh Sharma, currently a member of the technical staff at Salesforce and with prior experience at Twilio. He's back at NISB right where it all began. Iresh, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. It's truly an honor to have you with us today.
Thanks, Akhilesh. Thank you. I'm also very, very happy that I'm here back again.
Hello, Iresh. Welcome to Tech and Tales. So, how have you been and what's keeping you busy these days?
I've been great. Things are good and been working mostly and exploring some hobbies. That's all.
Exploring hobbies, huh? That's interesting. So before we begin, I want to tell my dear listeners that today we are diving deep into academic coursework, placements, and everything in between. But before we get into the core of it, Irish, if you had to describe your entire engineering journey in just one word, what would that be?
Um, One word is a bit difficult, but in one phrase, I can say it was a sine wave of emotions. There were happy times, there were bad times, but overall it was amazing, always positive, and yeah.
So it's a sine wave then. That's a nice way to put it. So a lot of you juniors will be tuning into this episode, and they'd love to know more about you. Could you tell them a little bit about yourself, what you're doing now, and what your journey looked from NI to where you are today?
Uh, I'm Iresh. I'm one of your super seniors. So I was in NICS, and my journey from NI to where I am has been very, very fun, very rocky as well. So I got a placement from college in Twilio. I was there for 2.5 years, and about 6 months ago, I joined Salesforce, and I've been working here since then. So professionally, that's been going on, and other way around, it's just a lot of gaming and a lot of hobbies. So yeah.
That's a pretty cool intro. And could you also walk us through the roles that you have held at these companies that you just mentioned?
So at Twilio, I joined as a fresher, right, as an SD1, and I was working with insights. So we had a event-driven system. It was a youth system, and our team used to do insights. Actually, let me give you a little bit of preface. So what my product was is something called contact center. To describe it, it's like let's say you're running a call center, right? So on your machine, you will be running some sort of software that queues in all the calls and messages. So that's called a contact center. That was my product and video, and I was part of the insights team. So we would take care of all the insights, like how many calls are coming in for an account, what is the return time, how are the agents performing, and everything. So that was mostly that. So I spent 2.5 years there building really cool stuff, like very, very fast-paced real-time systems. Had one of the biggest things that I did there was built up notifications from ground up, like conditional notifications. So that was very fun. Post that, I've moved to Salesforce. Here as well, I'm building the same thing. So I'm still in the contact center space, but this time I'm working more on the networking and voice sides of things. So, voice in the sense like when you call a contact center with your phone, that's a normal VoLTE call, right? Like a LTE or a telecom call. That gets converted into something called SIP, and we run the entire infra and software for converting those calls from telecom to software and all the routing and everything in the middle. So really nice, really interesting stuff. That's what I've been doing here. And like specifically, my role is MTS. MTS is equivalent to SD2, and yeah, that's all.
Okay. For any first year listeners out there who didn't quite catch all the technical terms, don't worry at all. You're not supposed to understand everything right now, but trust me, sooner or later you'll be in a position where all of it makes perfect sense to you. All right. That being said, let's dive right in. Starting from the very beginning, could you tell us about the shift from North India to South India? How was that transition to you?
Honestly, initially it was a bit scary, but I actually ended up finding really great friends. Like a lot of friends, both from North India and South India. It was like by the end of my college journey, there was no differentiation for me because I had friends from both the factions and really great friends. Otherwise, the culture is like really amazing here. explored a lot of Karnataka and neighboring states while I was in college. And yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, it was scary initially, but it almost became invisible for me by the end because I had friends. Like, honestly, every place has a stereotype, right? So does South India. So just leave all of that away. Come here, find great people. You'll meet amazing people. You'll meet amazing professors. Have a nice time. Explore the culture. Explore the food, and explore Karnataka. To be honest, it's a very beautiful space. So Mysore itself is so beautiful. Like, Mysore Palace is one of my favorite places. So yeah.
Yeah, I am not from North India, but even I struggle a little to adjust when I first got here. I think it just takes a little bit of time before things start feeling familiar. And definitely, Mysore is a really beautiful city, no debate in that. So, is there something specific you did early in your first year that you were really glad you did?
I'd say glad in my first year was probably I started early. Like everyone, when they come to college, they're mostly just chilling and enjoying the college life. I mean, I did enjoy the college life a lot, but I also tried to, be consistent and start working on my skills and whatever very early. So that gave me a head start and helped me out a lot. So that is like, I'd say start early. That's all.
Starting early, okay. On the flip side, what are the most common mistakes you see first year students making?
Uh, So I have a very controversial take on this. Like a lot of our professors in college don't agree to it, but I'd say, especially in engineering college, especially in today's time when skills are very important. I'd say, like, yeah, they've always been important, but now more than ever, your knowledge is very important. So as a first year, it's very difficult to digest the fact that college academics are supposed to be secondary. Like it's a very controversial take, but it's actually honest. Keep your college academic secondary. Just maintain a good 8.5 GPA and focus on other things. And when I say other things, in the sense, focus on not just studying, not just skills, also enjoy, explore. You're in a new place, please explore the place, and also study. Or like that's the whole point. Like what a first year needs to learn is you need to realize that until we're in school, it's all school, right? It's all school marks that matter. It's J score that matters. But once you're in college, education gets divided into two parts. One is learning your actual profession, learning your skills, and then doing things for college. So college has to be secondary. That's what I'd say to a first year.
Wow, that's a genuinely unique take, I must say.
I know that's why I say it's a controversial take.
Yes. So, could you also tell how important is a good CGPA? And what do you actually think is a good CGPA?
Actually, it's a very good question because I can give you a personal experience. So, I've already mentioned, I got placed in Twilio, right? So, Twilio came to college. They gave they had like this DSA test. So that's a first online hacker rank test where you need to solve a few questions. So it was for 90 minutes. I was able to solve both the questions in 29 minutes, and then there were other of my peers who solved it in, let's say, 35 or 45 minutes, a little bit longer than I took. But still, when the list came, those guys had this. So basically, their list only had two names, and that was my peers, not mine. So he said Twilio was looking for an 8.5 CGPA, and I was at 8.4. That's why I didn't get the shortlisted for the first round. So luckily, they did come back and they released a second list, so I was able to interview. But that's how important CGPA is. So an 8.5 is like something that you should have.
Since you mentioned about DSA, when should students actually start with DSA in their college?
Somewhere around second semester. Like first semester, you take your entire time just getting used to the basics, used to, I'm speaking, I'm giving a generic advice for someone like who doesn't even know the C of coding, like you don't know what languages are and whatever. So take the first semester, pick a language, any language, it doesn't matter what language you're picking. Pick a language, learn the basics, learn how to write basic algorithms, basic for loops and whatever. And then in the second semester, you can start on the essay. Like that's what's recommended.
Yeah, for those who don't know what DSA is, it's basically data structures and algorithm. It's essentially the backbone of technical interviews. Almost all the tech companies that you apply for in college will test you on these concepts before you get to the interview or even in the interview. So it's not something that you can afford to skip. So now here's the thing. Many of us start with DSA, but we never quite know where or when to stop. So how much DSA is really enough?
Uh, there is no answer to that question, to be honest. Like it depends on what you are trying to get into. If you're trying to get into, uh, you know, if you're trying to just get into just any job, something like stacks or queues are enough. If you want to get into the Fang and Manga group of companies, probably you need to go Telegraph. If you're looking for HFTs, then you need to go even higher and like look into more optimization and stuff. So it depends. It's basically depending on your goal, like where do you want to see yourself. And to be honest, DSA is not just the only thing, because let's say if you're aiming for startups, then they look for dev more compared to DSA. So you also need to factor that in.
You mentioned about HFTs. Could you tell us more about what that is?
HFTs are basically high frequency trading firms. So a few examples would be Jane Street, Citadel, Hudson River Trading. So these companies, they don't build their own. I mean, they don't do software engineering in the sense that they're building a product or something. They basically need software engineers to write extremely efficient code so that so essentially they're trading firms, right? Like high frequency trading. They're trading firms. They trade. They buy and sell stocks. If we go for the layman terms, so they want the fastest way to buy a stock. Like that's no, that's way too simple. Let me. So it's like, let's say you realize that for the next 5 minutes or the next 2 minutes, the stock is going to go up and then it's going to fall. So you need to buy right now and then sell right after 2 minutes before the stock dips. So that is where HFTs play. They look for the very small gap, and they want to hop in very quickly. That's why they want very good programmers who can, write very efficient, very fast code. Get in, buy, sell within these generally happen within a second. So in milliseconds, they buy and sell both, and they make huge chunk of profit out of that. Like this is very layman terms. That's what quant. This is basically this entire segment of market is called quant. So you can look more into that, but this is the crux of it. Like that's what HFTs do.
Okay. Coming back to DSA, a lot of students are confused about which programming language to choose. What's your take on that?
Uh, well, I have burnt my feet here. So I started with C++, but I did not like pointers at all. So I thought, let's not do this. Then I started using Python. I used to do a lot of scripting and full stack and a lot of data science as well. So basically, my first year I was exploring everything. So that's where Python came in very handy because I could apply it everywhere. So I started doing DS in Python. Then when placements came through, I was like, okay, no, everyone is doing it in Java. All the courses out there are in Java. So let me switch to Java. But once I switched to Java, I started solving questions. I realized I'm not fluent, and then I came back to Python. So it's all about what you are comfortable with. Like I have burnt my feet in all the three famous or like most common languages, and I settled on Python because that's what I'm most comfortable with. So yeah, that's the crux. Just try things out. Whatever fits with you fits. It doesn't matter, to be honest, like what language you're choosing.
You mentioned development earlier. For those who don't know what development is, it's essentially building real-world applications, websites, or software, or anything like that. It's basically where you actually apply your coding skills to create something tangible. And that's incredibly important because you learn to build, and that's what makes you a well-rounded engineer. So, what did you build during your college days?
Okay. What did I build? I built a lot of things. So initially, when I got into college, I was already trying to solve questions on HackerRank. And after some time, I realized this is not fun. I don't really like this. And I genuinely don't enjoy DSA till date. But then I thought, I don't like this. I am here to build software. I'm very passionate about building software. So I'll learn what to build. Then I was very fortunate. I met one of our seniors, even like my senior as well. So that guy, he just told me simply, you have 6 months, explore everything you want to, whatever you like, keep doing that. So the mid of first semester and like mid of second semester, I was just trying to figure out things. I tried web dev, I tried mobile dev, I tried, I even stumbled into game dev, data science, everything. Then I settled on full stack. I was like, I love how data travels from, your front end, be it a website or a mobile app, and then goes to the back end and you do things there. So I settled on that and I started building there. And well, I kept building. I built way too many things. None of them, unfortunately, became a startup, but I tried things.
Okay. So, when should students start with development and where should they begin?
Uh, Again, this is like a two-part thing. So if you're just a beginner, just go to YouTube and try out those basic, to-do list or like a e-com or something like that, just to learn. Once you have learned enough and you want to build things for your resume, what I used to do was I had a very simple. So I always had, I mean, I still have this thing. I want to build my own startup. So I always had the idea that I want to make projects, but I also want to make products. So what I used to then do was I would just come up with any random idea, be it monetizable or not. I'll just think I need to make a product, so I'll build things like that, try to build an end-to-end product. And if it scales, great. If it doesn't, it's a project on my resume. So just try to solve real problems. That's the whole crux of it. Try to solve problems and you get great projects out of it. Or other way around is try to learn new things. So when I was in college, I wanted to learn how video streaming works. So I got into WebRTC, I got into live bitrate servers and stuff. So that also counts to the project because you're learning something new. The whole point is like, what's the worst that can happen? Just build it. If it's great, you can sell it, make money. Otherwise, it's on your resume. That's all that matters, right? Instead of just thinking about will it work, will I be able to do that? Just try, just to get your hands dirty and start building it.
Yes, yes, yes. It's definitely going to shine on your resume anyway. So, could you tell us what actually makes a development project stand out in your resume?
Hmm. Uh, okay. So what makes a project stand out? It's like when I look at resumes, I just think of when I look at a project, I think of three things. What did I learn from it? There should always be something new that you learn. So there's no point making seven different e-com websites because the first time you maybe learn something, second time a little bit more, post that you're not learning anything. So you first thing is you should be able to learn something out of it. Second, is it actually solving a problem? Because there's no again like no point making an e-commerce website. To learn things you can make it, but post that try to make something interesting that actually solves a problem. That when a recruiter is looking at it, should be like, oh, that's a smart thing to build. And third, try to find a niche and build that because even that looks in a resume like let's say I am into normal full stack, but I try to get out of my comfort zone and try to build some video encoder or some sort of thing, something different. That just shows to the recruiter that he can learn things quickly. You throw anything at him and him or her, sorry, you can throw anything at anyone at that person and they should be able to build anything. So that's the whole point. Just look for one of these 3 points.
I'm curious, are there any niche fields that you would recommend for our juniors to explore?
Mm, I don't know. Like when I was in college, Web3 was a huge thing, but now it's almost dead. Like there are very few companies who are actually doing anything good in Web3. Right now, a lot of AI wrappers are coming up. They are a big deal right now. But I like what I would recommend is get the basics done. Like be very good at the basics. So if you are starting, don't jump on any bandwagon because you don't know if it will survive the next 4 years or not. So rather work on the basics, learn things like how a server works, how a server scales. All those things will always last because anything you build will actually end up needing a server. So you should know the basics. You should know REST and that's the whole point. Like don't jump on bandwagons. If you want, currently AI wrappers is great. If you want to try things out, if your basics are clear, you can get into that. Use some ChatGPT API, create some agent orchestration or something like that. But yeah.
We learn subjects like operating systems, DBMS, blockchain, and computer networks, etc. All of this as a part of our coursework, right? But how can students actually make the most of the subjects and actually build something, a project or something around them?
Uh, so one OS is actually a very interesting subject, to be honest. So if you want to build things, at par with your academics, you can probably try to build LRU cache or like an LFU. These are very simple, but that's something you can start with. Then, if I'm not wrong, our college also offers blockchain as a subject, right? So I tried to build a decentralized blockchain. You can do that. It's actually a very fun project. Like making a centralized one is simple, but when you try to decentralize it and then you bring a consensus algorithm into it, it becomes a very good project. It actually, if you can make it, it actually looks very good on the resume. Other things, DBMS, obviously, like anything you try to build, DBMS will be there. So yeah, with college subjects, I think these are all the ones that I can remember. So you can build these things, I guess.
Yes, computer networks is definitely one of the heavy hitters. I'm glad you brought that up.
I mean, I'm currently working with networks a lot, but my computer networking is very weak. So I will not like to comment on that.
Now, technical knowledge is only one part of the equation. Let's talk about the skills that often make the biggest difference in the long run. That is the soft skills. What advice would you give to our introverted juniors who might struggle with putting themselves out there?
Um, Communication is up there. Like it's probably soft skills, basically all of your soft skills. If not all, at least you should be good in communication. You should be able to talk your heart out. If you want to explain something, you should be able to do that. Networking, being an extrovert, I know it's not for everyone, but being an extrovert actually helps a lot in the long run. Other than that, a habit of learning or a habit of curiosity is very very good because me or like a lot of my peers, even though we are in our jobs and we know what to do, but we still, look up things on YouTube and try to learn something new. That curiosity is actually, I mean, people say curiosity kills the cat, but honestly, it didn't. It just makes you a much well-read, more confident person in the real world. So curiosity, yeah.
What advice would you give to our introverted juniors who might struggle with putting themselves out there?
Uh, I don't know, man. This is a tough one. What advice can I give to introverts? I don't know. Get out of your shell. Like I have never been an introvert, so I don't really know, and I don't want to comment on, you know, something like this without knowing what they're feeling. So probably just go out of your shell. Try to talk. The worst that can happen is you might get bullied or laughed at a bit, but you get laughed at three times, and the fourth time you're friends with them. So probably that's what I'd say.
Well, I was actually an introvert during my school days too, but eventually I learned to talk to people, opened up, and things started to change. I think if you're someone who's introverted, shy, or little underconfident, I think genuinely college clubs can be absolute lifesavers for you. I think you can develop so much.
I was actually about to get to that. Like clubs actually helps a lot. Like I know a couple of people who are introverted when they join college, but they got into clubs, they got into, the executive members and all that, and that just expanded their circle. And the best part is like if you join the right club, let's say you are interested in mechanical, and you get into the Forces Club in our college, you will find the people who are interested in the same things that you are, and then you are more confident, more comfortable talking there. Once you start expanding there, then you feel more confident in general, and then you can start talking to anyone. So I think those things really help getting into the right spot.
Could you tell us about your experience with NISB and what were your takeaways from it?
Uh, NISB actually always helped me getting better. So there's this very famous concept that you don't understand anything until unless you can teach that to people. And since I think you would know, I used to take a lot of sessions with NISB and other clubs in college. So that would force me to, let's say I learned something today and I want to take a session on it. But then before I get on the stage, I need to make sure I know it very well so that I can teach it correctly. First of all, there's responsibility. You can't teach wrong things. And secondly, if someone asks, you should be able to answer. So that one fear of getting things right on stage actually helped me get deeper into topics. But even like for other people who did not take events, what I saw between amongst my peers was first of all you make great friends. Like I'm still in talks with almost all of my NSB peers, even other clubs for that matter. And secondly, you get comfortable, you get out of your introverted shell, and you actually explore. So college clubs obviously help a lot.
Also, I noticed a lot of people hesitate to join clubs because they feel like they're already seniors in the club who are way more skilled than what they are, and they might feel a little underconfident and judged. So, what would you like to say to them?
You get judged. I mean, that's a fear that you have to get over. But the outcome is like if you get judged once, like I said, first three times you might get bullied, but the fourth time you'll get better and you actually be friends. So if you get judged, you will know what's wrong. If someone judges you for something, you know that okay, that is either wrong or the other person is wrong. So you can check like what's correct if it's working out and work on yourself, get better. I don't think anything else. Like people will judge you everywhere. It's better you get comfortable with it. So yeah.
Yes. So, we have talked about placement preparation and everything, but there is one thing that comes up a lot during placement season, that is the luck factor. What's your take on that?
My take on that is probably not the answer you're looking for, but at least in my experience, luck actually does matter. I mean, not a lot. Let's say it's probably 10 to 15% luck, and the other is all your hard work. But there is a uh, you know, slight chance or luck or whatever. There is a little bit of luck. Like why I say this is because I don't know if you guys know. I got a summer intern offer from Twilio, right? I did my internship there for 2 months. I was very happy, very comfortable. I'd gotten a PPO offer. I was ready to join them in August 2023. But December 2022, I got a call from the HR and my offer was revoked. So that's where luck comes in. And the worst part is the actually not the last company, but the last good company that, the 20 plus package that had come to our college was the day before that. So that's where, it's like, I won't say I was the best, but I did know things. I had a great offer. It went away. So luck does matter. That's a different issue that my manager contacted me and I got the offer back. But there is luck, right? And even like other people I know, some of my peers were really, really good, but because of their luck, they couldn't get into the best places. There are pretty good places, and now most of them have switched and got into even better places. But Again, luck, college placements, luck does matter, but maybe like 10-15%, not a lot. Skills obviously matters more.
But I'd like to say that while we can't control our luck, we can absolutely control the work that we put in, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Now, luck matters, but even if you're very lucky, you get into every interview. But if you don't have the skills, you don't get hired. So you need skills. Skills is the most important part. And yeah, I mean, luck is there a little bit, but you can't help it. And even if luck doesn't work out in college placements, you always have off campus. And off campus roles are generally better. So you have that as well.
So could you throw more light on off-campus preparation?
Off campus, so again, that depends. Like if you are, so I had worked with SuperTokens full time before I joined Twilio. So I was working with them for 8-9 months. That was an off campus offer. So if you're going for startups, then they expect way more than what a college, your average fourth year student would know. So you have to be really, really good if you want to get into startups. And if you want to get into like, big tech, they do have a lot of off-campus hiring rounds, hiring drives basically. But there you have to be ready that the competition would be more because in college you have maybe, 120 people, out of which maybe let's say 80 of them are applying for that role. But when it's off campus, there are probably thousands of people applying.
Mhm. Is there any difference in preparation strategy between the two?
Actually, there's no major preparation difference. Like on-campus companies would also ask for DSA, off-campus will also ask for DSA, so you have to prepare for DSA. Other than that, I'd say soft skills actually help out in off-campus because you need to approach people. You need to approach people on LinkedIn. You need to approach people on social so that you get a referral. That helps out. Um, but yeah, there's not a lot of difference. It's mostly the same things.
I have also come to hear that there is no fixed CTC in off-campus recruitment, and I think that's actually negotiable. Is that really true?
The benefit you have in on-campus is you already know the offer. You already know what sort of numbers the company is bringing in. But whenever you apply off-campus, there's always a range. So, let's say some XYZ company came to our college, they're offering 12. But their actual range could be from 10 to 14. But since they came to college, they have said 12, they'll give you 12. And once you go out, you apply for the same company off campus. Now the range becomes 10 to 14. You can either be very lucky and get, not lucky, but you could perform very well and get the 14, or you could get 10. So that's sort of a benefit.
Since you mentioned about super tokens now, I'm really curious about that as well. Could you tell us more about that?
So there's this open source authentication company called SuperTokens. So like I said, I had lost my Twilio offer, right? Right after, so when I had lost the Twilio offer, I was already interning or like doing a part-time work with this company already. So I approached them that I have lost my offer. I'm looking for a full-time job, and they took another round of interview and they accepted me. So that's where I joined.
Moving ahead, tell us about your interview experiences at these companies.
One, okay, yeah. So interviews are, what sort of interview are you talking about? You're talking about the final hiring rounds or like the hiring manager rounds or the coding rounds? Like after so basically you have one-on-one coding rounds, right? As interview as well. So you're talking about that or the other one?
Oh, you can tell us about both.
Okay. So the one-on-one coding rounds, one thing that most people don't realize is they're not about solving the problem. I mean, of course, you have to solve the problem. That is very important. You have to solve it. You have to solve it in the right way. But what companies or like what the interviewer is looking for in those rounds is more about the communication. Communication in the sense not like how you talk. It's more about how you approach the problem. So when you sit for these interviews, most freshers they just get the question, try solving it. That's not how you go about it. You read out the question, then you first discuss it with your interviewer that how do I solve it. Like you tell him that I'm him or her that I'm trying to approach the problem like this. This is what I'll do. Then you get some remarks back, and it's basically a pair programming round. That's why most companies do call it pair programming. That's because you want to discuss with your interviewer, and what they want to judge is so you have already done the online round, right? This is generally the second round. They know you can solve the problem. It's more about how you solve it, how you approach it, and how can you work with your teammates. So that is a very important part of it. Like you should know that you should be able to talk and express your mind out. And for the hiring manager rounds, it's generally there's this very famous concept called STAR: situation, task, action, reaction. That is the only thing that you need for hiring rounds, like hiring manager rounds. They will generally what that means is they'll give you a situation, they'll give you a task, and they'll basically ask you to create an action. and then they'll give some sort of reaction, and then you react, and basically have a conversation. So it's all about how you work in a team. Let's say I ask you today that you wanted to make a decision, but one of your teammates is not ready for it, and he's your senior. How do you deal with it? You need to get this done. How do you deal with it? So the situation is your teammate is not agreeing to your you know your idea. Your task is you have to get it done. Now you tell me your action. What are you going to do? Then I'll give you a rebuttal, and that's how the conversation goes. So if you understand this properly and you prepare for it, watch a few videos, you should be cool with it. Like that's generally at a fresher level, that's what they ask at Max.
That can be a little tricky. Are there any specific resources that you would recommend to learn more about the interview preparation?
I actually I don't really know because I am fortunate enough to have an elder sister. So I just called her up and I asked her, how do I take care of this? She taught me everything. But there might be, this is a very, famous concept, star. You should be able to find it very easily on YouTube. Maybe just make sure that you look into, you search for star interviews in tech because different sort of roles require different kind of actions. So watching a tech specific video might help you out.
All right. I almost forgot about this. Could you give us some recommendations for learning DSA, building projects, creating a strong resume, and some interview tips in general?
Um, DSA, I always just follow Striver. Like first of all, I don't really like it. I only do DSA 3 months before I'm trying to apply. I don't do it continuously. So I did it like 7 months ago when I switched to Salesforce. Now I don't remember anything. But whenever I do that, I just follow a Striver's list. The channel name is called Take You Forward, right? So you can just go there. He has a lot of lists. He has an ST list, has a Blind 75 list, whatever. You can just follow one of those. For Oh, sorry. What else did you ask? Projects, yeah. Projects like I already said, always like I gave you the 3 points, right? Learn something new in every project. Uh, Try to solve a problem, and just make an end-to-end product. That's the whole thing. Just try to solve a problem, learn something new, or go out of your comfort zone, try something extremely different.
Okay. We are going to switch things up a bit with the rapid fire round now. I'd love for you to keep your answers detailed but quick. Let's see what you've got. Are you ready?
Okay.
One word for a nine.
Fun.
One subject you absolutely loved.
Operating systems,
One subject you barely survived.
computer networking,
Coffee or tea during exams.
coffee,
Best memory from college.
college clubs,
One senior who guided you the most.
Blaze.
Favorite place on the campus.
The coffee shop in GJB.
One app you can't live without.
Probably Instagram.
Dream company when you're in college.
When in college, it was Apple.
One piece of advice in under 10 words.
I can give it in one word: curiosity. Just be curious, keep learning things. Doesn't matter if you're in for whatever year you're in, whatever you're trying to do right now. Even if you are exploring game dev, be curious about web dev. If you're doing web dev, be curious about that. Or if you're a completely a software person, be curious about hardware. Learn IoT, learn mechanical. It's just the more informed, more curious you are, you're just smarter in every way. So just be curious. That's all.
Curiosity, yes, I agree. That has been an absolutely insightful conversation, Iresh. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your experiences, your wisdom, and all these incredible insights with us. We are certain our listeners have learned a great deal from your journey.
Thank you for having me. It was fun to, get back to college life. I'd forgotten about it after 3 years. So it's great to be, refreshed to the memories.
To everyone tuning in, thank you for listening to Tech and Tales for the NIIEEE student branch. If you enjoyed this episode, stay tuned for more conversations with inspiring professionals and accomplished alumni. This is your host, Saklesh Usibli signing out. We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep learning, keep building, and never stop growing.